From deep in the forest, high atop the great Smoky Mountains, this is Smoky Mountain Off-Grid. Okay, here we go. See, I get to say it. I changed the intro so that I could say that. All right, we got a couple of days of rain here, so not much is going to be done on the homestead. So instead, let me do a little editorial piece here for you. I mean, it's a serious editorial piece, and I published it several years ago. So I edited it a little bit because it's just as true then as it is now. So let me see if I can stir your common sense and arouse you to do something about what we're headed into. There is nothing you as an individual can do about the policies and the politics of government. There's nothing you as an individual can do about the management of banks or the Federal Reserve. Nor can you change the practices of big business. Having said that, what I, as an individual, would like to focus on is the key phrase in that statement. As an individual, if you're smart about it, you can circumvent the aforementioned institutions, giving yourself and your family a much better chance of maintaining a more desirable lifestyle than one that's forced upon you by economic conditions beyond your control. In other words, becoming a free-range human on a tax farm. Now, I know that's pretty lofty stuff for a redneck like me, but the truth of the matter is that this is the direction we're headed in. Sitting in Congress at this very minute, this very moment in time, is legislation to curtail the Second Amendment. Remove the Electoral College, eliminate immigration control and enforcement, and create a new crypto dollar and have it administered by the Federal Reserve. There has to be a point where the population rejects the socialistic ideology and embraces common sense to maintain our constitutional republic. Or is there? 55% of the population is brain dead, blank slate. So when confronted by a socialist agenda through the educational system or ideological politicians, the lure of free stuff becomes their ideology. 20% go along to get along. They don't think about it one way or the other until it affects them. Easy prey for socialists that will definitely, this 20% will definitely follow the herd. The remaining 25% of the population are the people that are capable of original thought. Think things through, plan things out, make rational decisions. Hopefully you're a member of that group. Now, who do you identify with? What do you think your chances are of being able to stay out of the fray in this ongoing, gonna get worse, worldwide economic downturn? All's not lost unless you sit on your behind and do nothing. All's not lost. There's still some time left. but it's going to creep up on us. And over the next 12 to 14 months, it'll lead to an inflationary depression. There are some things there's some economic conditions you'll be able to take advantage of if you have your ducks in a row. And, we're not talking about big, dramatic steps to take. We're talking about the fundamentals. And if you've been watching, if you've been doing the things I suggested in the previous videos, then you can clearly see that in 2022, there are going to be, leading up to 2022, there are there's going to be increasing dissatisfaction. It's a nice way of saying riots. And loss of confidence in government. And in 2022, in other words, another 12 to 14 months, this stuff comes to a head. And it will throw our country into a tailspin for 10 years after that, before the United States is broken up entirely. This has been coming for a long time. And it doesn't matter who's elected. It doesn't matter who the politicians are. This is the way it's going to go. This is the way it's always been. This is a cycle of human nature. And this has happened a multitude of times in human history. So my advice to you is pay attention to the basics, and do what you think is necessary to protect you and your family. All right, so that's a commentary that I published several years ago. I've changed the names to protect the innocent. You know how they do that on a movie, right? I've changed some of the institutions because some of those things have changed, but the main thrust is the same. Nobody can predict exactly what's going to happen. There are too many moving parts. There are too many variables. But the general gist of the situation is that the United States, here in the United States, we will follow behind the rest of Europe and Asia, and we will eventually become part of the collective. So that's just the way it goes. Economic hardship is around the corner. Nobody's covering it because it's an election year. And nobody wants to admit that our economy can't come back when there's continuous lockdowns. So hang tight. Do what you think is right. Ha! That kind of rhymes, doesn't it? Hang tight. Do what you think is right. Because you're still an individual. You either follow the sheep, you become a part of the herd, you are totally brainwashed, or you do your own thinking and your own processing, and your actions will reflect that. Okay. When the weather clears up a little bit, we got land clearing to do. We're going to put in a guest house at the Homestead. So, the anticipation is that some people are going to get caught up in this economic malaise in the next year or so. So, we want to be prepared to offer assistance if it's needed. All right. That's all I got for this time. So until next time, toodaloo.